Standing ovation, but not from everyone. Let's welcome in now Congressman Kevin Hern. He represents Oklahoma's 1st District to talk more about this. He's also on the House Ways and Means Committee and the Border Security Caucus as well. Congressman, great to have you with us.
John, it's great to be with you.
All right, so were you in the room last night? Were you watching from home, or like Elon Musk, not watching at all?
No, I actually went. I believe in the creed that you respect the office, not necessarily the person that's in there. And it's good to hear it firsthand. I mean, if you're going to comment on it, to see it, that way you don't miss anything. And, you know, what we heard last night should have been, the extended title should have been that the State of the Union it's a disaster. It's a disaster here in our own home. It's a disaster across in Europe and Ukraine, and what we're seeing with President Putin and his invasion of Ukraine.
And one of the points that stood out for us was the fact that President Biden took absolutely zero responsibility for all the inflation we see in this country. And he tried to blame corporate America. Take a listen.
Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America. During the pandemic, about half a dozen or less foreign-owned companies raised prices by as much as 1,000% and made record profits. Tonight, I'm announcing a crackdown on those companies overcharging American businesses and consumers.
He should be announcing a crackdown on government spending, shouldn't he?
He should, and that's the sad thing. This speech sounded like it was written by Bernie Sanders with a little bit of Donald Trump thrown in. When you listen to what he said about we need to secure the southern border, and yet he failed to acknowledge that his policies of getting rid of Donald Trump's policies is what's opened the border to fentanyl. When you hear what he said also with taking our border patrol agents and making them travel agents, sending illegal immigrants, some 2 million have crossed in his time across a nation unknown to anybody in Congress or many times to any mayors. When you look at what he said about inflation, that inflation was high, yet he continued to talk about Bernie Sanders and Socialist Democrat spending plans that somehow he continues to forget. And then this last thing that you just mentioned here and showed that he's going after businesses because of the supply chain issues that he's created, and then criticizing businesses in America. It's just the whole speech was full of hypocritical comments, and you know, that's why we have what we have, why we have the disaster that we have right now.
Now, I saw a statement from Joe Manchin, and he said what Joe Biden probably should have said last night, quote, "It only makes sense that we lead by example of showing that we're shutting down all Russian products coming into the United States. Let's get back to productive energy environment. We need it more now than ever." I mean, this was, I think, a key component missing from President Biden's speech. He had the opportunity last night to kind of reset this and American energy policy, and he failed to do so. Congressman, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was watching the Joe Biden's comments there. You know, really, when you look at what's happening right now with the dependency on Russian oil, we're getting about 600,000 barrels a day. We, as Americans, taxpayers, are sending them a $60 million check every single day for the oil that we're taking out of Russia. And that's a small amount compared to what the NATO countries are taking. And then you hear the president stand up there last night and address the world that he's asking other countries to turn on their spigots to be able to offset those barrels coming out of Russia. He never once mentioned the United States of America, our producers in the United States, shutting them down. States like my state of Oklahoma, where jobs have been let go because they could have been out there producing oil, to mitigate this issue and this dependency on Russia. And until we do that, we're never going to really stop what Putin is doing. He's sanctioned everything except the oil revenues that are going to that nation.
I also want to ask you about a report in the New York Post today that says that Russia is declaring a cyber war on the United States to try and cripple the banking systems here or other infrastructure in this country. Again, this is coming from the New York Post. The attacks on major banks like J.P. Morgan and Bank of America are increasing. So what is the U.S.? This sounds like an act of war. We often hear that cyber attacks are tantamount to an act of war here. So what is this country prepared to do to push back against these cyber attacks?
Well, we're obviously learning a lot about what's going on right now with Ukraine. We know that Russia put out a series of cyber attacks on that country, on Ukraine, before they actually entered. And we know they had very limited effects. And so we see the Ukrainians who are really good in this area thwart those. They've kept their social media channels open. They've kept their TV stations open, and also their targeting systems open. That's why you're seeing so many downed aircraft from our sophisticated air defense systems that are in that system, in that country, rather.
Right.
And so when you see that, Russia is having very little opportunity there. So I think we're learning a lot as well as we see the capabilities of the Russian military and the Russian cyber attacks that could happen around the world. And we're learning from that.
Yeah, at least from some of these reports, you're questioning the capabilities of the Russian military, and they've been, increased and talked about almost in legendary terms. But we're not seeing that as of yet in Ukraine. Congressman, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
It's great to be with you, John. Thank you.